Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Continuing to take a look at the next week's slate, going down to the Big 12 as Houston heads on the road to play Kansas State. And what I think is so fun about this game is both of these teams playing the best football we've seen in the 2023 season, right? You look at Kansas State injecting Avery Johnson into this lineup, into this offense, is bringing a different level of juice. And why we were so high on Kansas State in the first place heading into the season was their ability to run the football, control the clock, time of possession, and play good defense. That is exactly what we saw against TCU. And on the flip side, Houston, really talented wide receivers. Donovan Smith is playing at a high level, almost beating Texas last week. Both of these teams playing at a high level. Really excited to get into this one. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys. The support that you guys have shown, especially the Big 12 fans, for all of these game breakdowns. I can't thank you guys enough. It's been a very fun conference to talk about. The support y'all show means a lot. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. More importantly, let me know in the comment section how you guys are feeling about this one. Picks, predictions, keys to the game. Without further ado, let's get into this one. And we got to start with this Kansas State offense that you look up, and I feel like a lot of people in the national media wrote this team off after losing a really tough one on the road to a Missouri team that is crushing it in the SEC, and then just laying a stinker in Stillwater Friday night a couple weeks ago. Outside of that, like, this Kansas State team is still that team that we thought was kind of a dark horse to win the Big 12 heading into the season. And everyone wants to talk about Texas, Oklahoma. I'll say it right now. If Kansas State can replicate what they did against TCU, running the football, controlling the time of possession, playing good defense, this is a dangerous team in the Big 12. Really excited. Now, I want to start with the quarterback situation. It's an offense that, again, you look down, 35 points per game, top 12 in the country. They want to run the football, and they do it at a high level, averaging 5.6 yards per carry. That's top 10 in the country. We said it last week, 7 days from now when we were recapping that Kansas State game. Nobody I trust more to manage this quarterback situation than Chris Klieman, right? Will Howard, Avery Johnson, both bring kind of a different element into this offense. Avery Johnson, the juice that he brings, especially on the ground, it's next level. Again, we said last week, his spark rating coming out of high school was higher than Lamar Jackson's. Like, this dude is a very special athlete, and he plays composed. Like, he doesn't look like a true freshman out there. Threw some really good balls down the field. Obviously, a phenomenal quarterback in threat with his legs as well, and really opens up this offense. When you have a quarterback like Avery Johnson, who is that big of a threat to hit that big play, keeping the ball in those read options, it's opening up the run game for guys like DJ Giddens and Trayshawn Ward. And you're seeing this Kansas State team run the football as good as they have when Avery Johnson is in. And Will Howard looks phenomenal too. So at the end of the day, two really good quarterbacks that you trust to run this offense, which is a good spot to be in, because there's a lot of Power 5 teams that don't have a single quarterback that they trust to run this offense. Trayshawn Ward really emerging as a guy. I mean, this is a really good running back room in DJ Giddens and Trayshawn Ward, but I want to talk about this offensive line. This was the reason why I was so high on this Kansas State team. I mean, they got multiple guys who I think have NFL futures, obviously Cooper Beebe being that guy on that offensive line, and they're establishing the line of scrimmage, and they're kind of rogue grading and opening up a lot of lanes for these running backs. And I got to give a shout out. I got my notes in front of me. Ben Sinnott, not only a weapon in the passing game, this dude in space. Kansas State wants to run to the perimeter, right? They want to get their athletes in space. Ben Sinnott is the best blocking tight end, H-back in the country, especially when it comes to being in space. I mean, this guy is a very key part of this offense. Wanted to give him a shout out. At the end of the day, you look at this Kansas State team. Why were we high on them? Running the football, being physical. That is exactly what they're doing. And they're going up against the Houston defense that has struggled to stop the run, right? 31 points per game. That's 103rd in the country. 4.3 yards per carry. That's 78th in the country. This is a Houston team that has not been great against the run. This is a Kansas State team that wants to run the football and has been very, very good at doing it, especially the last couple of weeks. Now, for Houston, you do have a few full playmakers up front, right? Nelson Caesar, Chidozie, Nwankwo, two guys that really can make some noise and kind of be game wreckers up front. And if you can handle those guys, I think Kansas State will be able to run the football at a high level. Now, flipping the sides, this is a Houston offense is finding its stride, right? And Donovan Smith, we knew, big athlete, big arm, very, very good at extending plays. He is playing the best football I've seen him at the college football level. Like last year at Texas Tech, really struggled with the turnovers, but you saw the flashes. This year, you go back to that Texas game, 378 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. against a really good Texas defense. And they got some really good wide receivers too. One of the better wide receiver rooms in the Big 12, Sam Brown, Matt Golden, Joseph Manjack, really getting it done. This is a Houston team that can hit the explosive play, piece people up through the air. It's no secret what they want to do, right? They throw the ball 57% of the time. That's top 20 in the country. They don't run the ball much. They're not very good at it, but they want to hit the explosive play. They want to attack teams in space, and they've been doing a really good job of it the last couple weeks. Now, looking at Kansas State's defense, I think the key is, one, you got to win on first and second down, right? This is a Houston team that struggles to run the football. If you can get them into some of those third and long situations and unleash guys like Austin Moore, Khalid Duke, Brandon Mott, like those guys can be game wreckers, can kind of disrupt Donovan Smith and maybe get some of those turnovers that you saw against Texas Tech in the back end. I think the key is not giving up the explosive play, right? This is a Kansas State secondary that I like a lot of names back there. Kobe Savage being one of my favorite safeties in the country. Houston wants to hit the explosive play. If you can kind of limit that and make them go 10 plays, 80 yards, that's where you see this Houston team get a little bit uncomfortable and Donovan Smith starts forcing some throws. So I think the big thing here for Kansas State is, one, winning on first and second down, being able to unleash some of those blitzes and getting that pass rush going and limiting the big play. If Kansas State can do that, you feel pretty good. Now, getting to the pick here, Kansas State 17-point favorites at home. That's a high number for how good Houston's offense has been playing. I'm going to take Kansas State here at home just because I think this team is finding its identity again, right? They going into the season, this is a team that you knew what their identity was, and they kind of lost it a little bit for a little bit of that season, right? Losing on the road to Missouri, losing on the road in Stillwater. They've been really good at home. I really like what this offense is looking like, and it's a very solid defense. Give me Kansas State covering the 17 points, but this one could be closer than most people think because I really do think this Houston team, the narrative was they're in the bottom of the Big 12. I think that offense is playing – this offense is playing like a feisty offense. So you have to be on your P's and Q's for this one. I love it being at home. The quarterbacks are really, really providing a next-level piece of juice to this offense. I'll take Kansas State Wildcats here. Appreciate you guys rocking with the boys again. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you all later.